taking my time to perfect the beat, and I still got love for the streets. It's the D.R.E.
representing for the gangsters all across the world. Still.
I just saw you do that off scram. Beautiful. Loving it. Hey guys, it's Sunday. It's football day. It's a big day in the NFC West. So JT and I are getting started. We know Bo's going to join us.
I'm ready.
Right, this is it. You're ready. You brought the punching gloves. You brought the boxing gloves. This is going to be a showdown in the heat. Where's that come from? I mean, that's the big news, right? 107-degree heat in October.
Well, that's here, but I think in Santa Ana, I think it's 95. I think that was going to be the temperature today. Hopefully, excuse me, it doesn't get much hotter than that. But you know, we're used to that. They have a outdoor facility in Tempe, Arizona, and it's just so hot here. Like I said, it's it's 107, 109 this week. I can't believe it. It's first week of October and we're having these temperatures, so we're kind of used to it. But I don't think San Fran is. But I think when it comes to it, I really think the players are going to decide the game. The weather's not going to be that much of a factor.
Yeah, it's obviously been the big news, isn't it, this week, and the Niners asking to play in white. It was a bit like, and everyone's like, why have the NFL not let us play in white? It's like, well, because Arizona are playing in white. So
yeah, that'd be a little confusing.
It's like, and obviously I think, the official stipulation was, hey, San Francisco, put your designation in for all your uniforms at the beginning of the season. You can't just suddenly go, it's a bit warm, can we change?
Right.
But it's interesting, they have allowed them to swap to the throwbacks though with the white pants. So that's some sort of stipulation, but it kind of makes sense, I guess, if it is going to be that hot. And it is unseasonably hot for an October, as you said, beginning of October. That's just insane sort of weather. That's not football weather that you would expect, right?
Not at all. So, but I'm excited. I can't wait. I think it's going to be a great game. We play each other great every year. It seems like
there's needle as well. Right? Yeah.
What's that?
There's needle in this game. There's a little edge. We've got that Hufanga O'Connor sort of ongoing battle running thing. And as you say, these teams play each other hard and tough all the time, but then having that little extra spice involved just elevates it. Division is tough.
I think they hate each other. Yeah.
I just don't think they like each other. And it's one of those things. You can have a rivalry, but there's rivalries, and then there's teams you just don't like, right?
Yeah. It's funny.
This is the second side.
My son asked me yesterday, he's like, Dad, who's our rivalry? I'm like, we really don't have one, but if I had to pick a team, it'd be the Niners. Like the teams just really don't like each other. And like you were talking about that Connor disagreement last year, it's so fun. I mean, I'm tuning in for the pregame to see if I can catch anything. So it's going to be exciting. I can't wait. Since Kyler's here, we're not on a winning streak by any means, but just the way we play you guys. And I like the fact that I like the fact that we're coming up an ass whooping last week. We really got it handed to us, and we're gonna look to bounce back. For Redbird Nation, for Cardinal Nation, look, this has never happened under Jonathan Gannon and Monty Ossenfort. A game like last week has never happened. As Cardinal fans, we know what that feels like. We know what games like that feel like, and under other regimes, those happen all the time.
It wasn't
multiple times this
season.
With Steve Wilkes, it felt like every Sunday. So let's pump the brakes a little bit. It's never happened under Jonathan Gannon. This is still a rebuild. Let's call it like we see it, right?
Yep.
How do the Lions look? The Lions look good, huh? They look legit. Would you say, right?
Yep.
I think Bo would agree, right?
After Monday, he would have to agree, right?
And Dan Campbell's first two seasons was with the Detroit Lions. He went 12, 21, and 1 with a healthy Goff and a great O-line. Well, a very good and healthy O-line. So let's pump the brakes. Let's relax. We're seeing progress. We're seeing great things on the field. We're going in the right direction. Hey, the year we went to the Super Bowl in 2008, the Cardinals, we got blown out twice in December, once by Minnesota, once by Green Bay. So, again, it happens. You don't like to see it. I felt like, I brought my son last week to the game. I felt like it was child abuse. I thought I was going to have
Did
CPS
you
come to
leave?
my
Did you have
house.
to get out of there? Did you have to leave a little early to save
We left
this?
a little bit early, but we didn't beat the traffic because everybody left early. So it was like,
Everyone had the same idea. Yeah.
So talk about adding insult to injury. It's like, okay, let me get out of here a little bit early, beat the traffic, and then everybody had that same idea. So
And
it was awful.
I feel, I mean, obviously Cliff Kingsbury coming back and kind of being a bit, that must have.
You know what? And we have the receipts. If we have the tape, I've always said this. Cliff is an amazing OC. Cliff is an amazing play caller. Now, can he learn to adapt in the second half of the season? But what he's doing with Jane Daniels and what he's doing with that offense is something the NFL has never seen. So,
Yeah.
Hey, kudos to him. No one saw that coming. It's not like the Redskins the Commanders have all these amazing weapons on offense. And I mean, Austin Eckler didn't even play last week. And so
They
just handed it to us.
Running back. He's found in the league for 7. Suddenly, finally has a game where, he noticed. But yeah, it's as you say, you just got to kind of put your hands up to that one. And they are doing big things in Washington, and it looks like they're on that upward trajectory as well. They've changed their sort of front office. They've got a lot of I know they've taken a lot of ex-49ers over there, so they've found themselves an absolute stud in fair play, quick off. Interesting is obviously starting to get a few players back in. He's starting up a little bit. We looked better last week. So, I mean, I think we're doing well coming into this game. I think it's going to be, still, as you say, I think it's going to be tight, a real interesting, that I read today that obviously CMC not even going to be designated for Thursdays, although he's normally coming off the 4 games IR. He's available for Thursday, I think, but I don't think they're designating him. So he's going. I think you're going to get a large dose of Mason again today, because why wouldn't you, right? As an offense, you just be handed to him and see what you can see if you can open you guys up.
Sure, and we got some injuries on the defensive line, and we haven't shown that we can stop the run very much. So why not? Why not give the ball to Jordan Mason 30 times today? But a big one is Fred Warner going to play today. Because we can run the ball very well. We actually have more rushing yards than the Niners. So look for James Conner and company to run wild. Again, one of the best things that could have happened to us today was to have the game last week that we had. I mean, we got our asses kicked. So they're going to come out. I'm telling you, this team and James Conner, man, that man plays with his hair on fire. So
yeah, he is an angry player, right?
No, he runs angry constant. I think he sleeps angry. So,
in bed when he goes in there.
Yeah, yeah. Welcome, Bo.
How's it going, guys?
I think it's going to be a great game. I think we're definitely going to cover.
What is the line? What is the line?
The line's 7. I think that's a bit disrespectful. That's a big line. It's not like the Niners have shown they're the Niners yet this year. They haven't put anything on paper that lets people know they're here. They're in control. They're not even tops in their division, right, Bo? So it's kind of like 7. Nice. I don't know. That's a lot.
Let's see, but that's I expected a 7. Yeah, it's the all tight game. And 7 hard.
You're breaking up a little bit there, Gary.
So getting 7, you spaced around weeks. I
think it's just showing you how many holes there are in the game.
Oh, what?
How many holes there are in his game?
Yeah.
Just every other word.
Yeah. Gary, I think you have a connection issue over there.
I think so. Yeah. Let's see if I can work.
You're definitely glitching. But no, we were just talking about how we're really looking forward to that game. And you guys, talking about our game, you guys had a great game against the Lions last week. I really like your effort in the second half. It was 21-7 going into halftime. And I just want to say for the record, it was 21-10 when we went into half with the Lions the week prior. Just saying. So, I'm sorry, 20-10, and then we shut them out in the second half. But whatever. But no, you guys
Well,
looked really good in the second half.
So the thing was going into that game, like you were in a bad spot anyway, because they had 3 starting linebackers out and 2 starting defensive linemen out. And then you lost your main safety in Julian Love at halftime. So the biggest takeaway from that game was there was just no quit in that team. Like they kept battling, because that game could have got ugly real quick with the amount of people they had missing that game.
Right. Well, kudos to your drafting, and this guy Derek Hall kept jumping out at me on the screen. I'm like, wow, and I looked him up and I saw how many games he played last year, 0 sacks. This year he's already got 4 sacks. I'm like, man, this guy's got a high motor. It's very good. I like that piece for you guys. And Kenneth Walker, right? Anytime Kenneth Walker is that guy. You got a field full of 22 football players, professional football players, right? 1,500 of the best football players in the world play in the NFL, and you got 22 at one time, right? When Kenneth Walker touches the ball, it's just different. It looks different. Yeah. It's kind of like CMC. When CMC touches the ball, it just looks that Tyreek Hill. There's certain guys, when the ball's in their hand, they're just different. They're just special. And the knock on Kenneth Walker is he can't stay healthy. And then I look back at his play log, and I'm like, you know what? He's actually played in quite a bit of games. He's averaging over 5 yards a carry this year, and it's like, man, he really is a game changer. I can see they're trying to work him in slowly. Charbonnet is a great back as well in his own right, but he's no Kenneth Walker.
Well, it's just different, right? Like they're very different backs. So Kenneth Walker, if you're making a comparison on guys that were on the Seahawks, right? He runs more like a Marshawn Lynch kind of guy. Like he will run at you, right? Whereas Charbonnet is more of that Sean Alexander style where he wants to get around the edge, right? Like he's not initiating contact.
He's not looking for the contact.
And when you look at an offensive line that still really isn't quite gelled as a unit, Walker works better than, say, a Charbonnet, because Charbonnet needs that cohesion to open the gaps for him to be able to get around the edge and through the side. Right. Whereas you need one guy to really open a gap up, and Kenneth Walker can squeeze through that. So, with the way that this offensive line is played so far, Kenneth Walker just fits a lot better because he needs less help. He needs a crease, whereas a guy like Charbonnet, more of a finesse style runner, needs a
offensive line to do their job. Yeah. Exactly. Where Kenneth Walker's like, I'll snatch the soul out of you.
Exactly.
And
especially that run.
That play on the edge was amazing, where he was not down. He did like some gymnastic somersault move. I'm like, what in the
back
world?
Flip and then the front flip and then just got up and ran for another few yards.
It was amazing. I almost tore my ACL just watching it. Like, it was amazing.
Yeah. It's one of those that you say it's a different making. It's a difference play. You just sit there with like jaw on the floor going, did I just see that? Did I just watch
and
that?
It's such a joy to watch guys like that, watch Kenneth Walkers, watch CMCs. It's like, man, we're going to be able to tell our grandkids, man, back in my day, we got to watch guys like that, and it's fun football. But again, today I think we're going to have a very fun contest with the Niners, and it's going to be super exciting. I think both teams have a lot to prove. They're very pissed. And I think that's the best brand of Cardinals Niners football, when they're both pissed.
Yeah, when they're both got something to prove, as you say, they're both looking to make a statement. Either yours is like a bounce back statement, ours is we haven't quite hit our straps yet. It's just got a frisson to it that it feels like it's gonna go off. It's gonna be one of those big games. There's a lot riding on it. I think it's going to be good. It puts, the divisional situation adds that level of it now that, those Seahawks have now kind of lost their unbeaten run. It gives, there's a chance now to kind of tighten up the whole division. The Rams are looking, it's just got so much riding on it. It's not right over here. It's the main game on the main NFL channel over here. There's one channel that broadcasts NFL over here. Our game has been picked out of all of those kickoffs as the game to show over here. So, that shows that even over here we recognize all of those 9 and 5. That's the big one. That's what I want to see.
Yeah. Yep.
No, this matchup's going to be fantastic. It, obviously the Cards are out there trying to say, "Hey, we're a team. Like, you guys need to take us serious." And there's a fly in here that's pissing me off. Keeps trying to fly in my eyeball.
I have a kid like that that pisses me off.
But yeah, I mean, and the Niners, they just haven't looked like the complete football team that we know they can be. So it's this one's going to be a great battle. But our game, it actually isn't that interesting.
No, against the Giants, no, I don't think so. Especially it's in Seattle, right? So
it is.
Again, you just got to keep from that letdown game, right? It's you're playing the Giants, they're traveling across the country, and we got this one. It's in the bag.
Yeah, complacency side.
I hope you don't look at it that way, because that's how you lose games.
I was going to say that's what you got to prevent from happening, is that mindset.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's still an NFL team coming in.
No question. And there's also the problem that, some of those guys that missed the game against the Lions will miss this game also. So this game is going to be a more of a battle than it should be. And it's because, again, we're missing guys on the defensive line and the linebacking core. So, one of the biggest ones is Nwosu, I believe, is missing this game officially now. So some of those things are going to be tough. Fortunately for us, we have Daniel Jones on the other side, and so that's what I'm going to say.
It's one of those games where if you're missing people,
well,
you're going against the Giants. Is it the worst case scenario? Is it as games to miss? These aren't bad ones, right?
That's a get right game. That's the game you sit those guys that are nicked up a little bit, and they'll get right.
Yeah, and Alec, I mean, so far so good. It, there was a lot of pressure on McDonald coming into this year because, with Pete at the helm, he'd only missed the playoffs 4 times in the 14 years he was there. So there's a lot of pressure on McDonald to show out. And so far, although the wins haven't been pretty, they still go in the win column. So, you'll take them because with an all new coaching staff, mostly put together defense, right? A lot of these guys are 1-year prove it deals. Wins are what you care about. That goes to that old adage is I would rather win ugly than lose pretty, right?
That's right.
So, I mean, as this year goes on, I would expect to see a lot better just team play. But if you can collect wins early in the year, that's what matters.
Yeah, but at the end as you say, at the end of the year, what matters is how many is in that win column. So even if they're scrappy, ugly wins by a point or whatever else, they still go down as a win. So yeah, I think, as you say, you're still finding your feet, you're still putting it together. Your O-line is still meshing. You're still you're trying to find the right pieces around those injuries and stuff. So if you can keep those wins ticking over, then it's happy days by the mid-season, and you get to your bye week. Well, you've got quite a late bye this season, haven't you?
Yeah, I think we have it week 10, which is awesome. For a team that routinely has running backs get beat up, I like a late, bye week just so that those guys can try and get right. Last year I think we had it week 5. That is hands down the worst bye week.
You barely got started, right? You're kind of just getting into a flow. Then you got to take a week off, and then suddenly it's like you've got a long old season. If you start getting, as you say, as JT said again, you get nicks and you're carrying a little knock, and you're starting to get beat up, and you think, "Oh, I've still got 12 more weeks to go. I've still got 11 weeks left of the season." It's a long old slog if you get that early bye week.
The The only time I like an early bye week is if you start out horribly, right? Like if you're the Jags right now, you would have been praying for a week 5 bye week.
Just give me week 5 off. Yeah. And it's like Bengals
Yeah.
would have been looking for a week 5 off, right? And just get back
Well,
get back in a facility and kind of sort themselves out. Yeah.
For sure. Well, and the Eagles are probably actually kind of happy they have it this week because they have not looked right yet. And so they're probably like, we would have liked it later, but we kind of needed it now.
Yep.
So when you don't want to see it is if you start off like 4-0 and they're like, oh, here you go, bye week.
You're
and you're
playing
like,
great. You're like, no.
Yeah, absolutely flying. Everything's clicking. You're like, football's easy. And it's like, I got to take a week and a half off. And then you come back and it's like, timing's gone a little bit and whatever else. It's just crazy how by, you think 1 week shouldn't really make that much of a difference. That somehow just that intensity, because training and, practice and training for these guys isn't at that game day intensity. So it's easy to slip off that perch, especially if, as you say, the team is flying and everything's clicking, and then you just a week and a half can somehow really throw your timing off.
Well, and there's the people that are like, oh, well, I don't believe in momentum and whatever. And it's like, okay, well, you don't necessarily have to believe in that, but it is a rhythm sport, right?
Yeah.
And so like if you're on a roll, it's easy to keep that up, whether you want to call it rhythm or momentum or whatever. That's why you see, the feel of a game shift when something happens, right?
Big play happens or special teams or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I believe
you end up,
in game momentum in game. I don't believe in rhythm and momentum from week to week, because week to week is different, and that's really up to your coaches, right? Keeping the mindset and players, the leaders in the clubhouse. Right?
It's routine.
Because
It's the routine that's different.
saying, we got a first round bye. Dang it, we got a first round bye for the playoffs. That stinks. No, every team is trying to jockey for that. So I think it really comes down to the mindset, the leaders you have in that locker room to keep the guys, focused on what they're trying to get achieved.
No. I agree with that. I mean, some of that first week bye is because you just have one less game you have to win. And I mean, that's a huge advantage.
Well, and after a 17-week season, you also want some guys to get a little extra, rest and healthy.
Exactly it.
Yeah,
that's exactly it. But I mean, week to week, there is something to be said about just the routine of going week to week. Whereas when you have a bye week, that routine gets messed up. And sometimes that can be the difference.
Sure.
Sometimes you just don't prep quite the same because you had extra days, so your setup's a little off. I mean, some
obviously
teams,
your Sunday's different.
yeah, right. I mean, there's a lot of things that change. It's why some teams struggle when they have to go Thursday night or anything like that, right? It changes your setup and how you prep, and some players deal better with that than others. Some of them are they need their 5
Monday off, 4 day, Tuesday back recovery, and then something Thursday comes and it's too soon in the schedule, or some travel home maybe. It's like
but I will say you don't necessarily see that have a big effect or too big of an effect with good teams.
Yeah.
The Chiefs are not going to let that happen. Good and great teams don't let that happen.
We don't have our bye week next week.
No, but you do have a Thursday night short week.
Oh, yeah, but so do you. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's an interest. I'm not sure where Alex is going with that one. But
pack a lunch, Alec. This is going to be a fun game.
There's going to be 2 fun games, actually. It's like back-to-back, head-to-head type things, 2 divisional games coming off a short week. It's got a great, this week is great for the NFC West. I mean, to the Rams' perspective, obviously, I expect them to probably get handed a bit of a beating from the Packers, who are trying to get right, and I think they're just a better team. They have better bodies at the moment. All that, that Romeo Dobbs interesting rumbles that come out there from the Packers, that's going to impact on them. But I just think you look at that offense and they've got just better pieces in play right now with the injuries that the Rams are dealing with. So I can see the Rams not coming out of the Packers visit too kindly.
No, especially considering you're missing Kupp and Nakua. I mean, when you have to have your third guy as your number one, you got a long day ahead of you.
Yeah. And Tutu is wasn't Sam's greatest and favorite player as a wide receiver 3 last season either. So, you know, the fact that he's having to step into the number one position, it's a struggle for them. You know, you expect to see them leaning a lot on Williams, but it just doesn't look like they've got it together there. So it could be a long day for the Rams, I think.
Yeah.
And it looks like Fred's playing though, JT. It does look like, although his ankle is a bit dinged up, it looks like he's going to be playing.
You know what? I think Shanahan's he's a little shady, I think. But you know what? A lot of the greats like Bill Belichick, Pete Carroll, a lot of those coaches, the great coaches, and I'll put Pete in that category. They are kind of shady. They coach in that gray area. You're not quite breaking the rules, but are you breaking the? Let me do an investigation on you because that's a little shit. Like your injury.
You're not trying, right?
Your injury.
If you're not pushing the envelope, right? Come on.
14 players on your injury report. We have 7. Like, come on, all these guys. Like, I mean, CMC, right? He was going to play week 1, right? He's still on there. Like, Kyle's just a little shady. I don't know. So it's hard to trust him.
It's hard, injury reports is hard to trust
today.
Yeah.
I mean, the Seahawks do exactly that, though. They never give you their real injury report until like the morning of.
They must
does that in press conferences. He's notorious for giving you zilch, zero, no information at all, nothing. It's like that was pointless to even watch that. Like,
yeah.
So I appreciate that, but at the same time, like, I don't know, Kyle just, I think he's great. I think he's a phenomenal coach, but he coaches in that gray area.
He flirts with the shade, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he flirts with the shady areas sometimes.
But hey, the greats do, right?
I mean, any edge you can get, right? And you know, if it keeps the Cardinals slightly off kilter going, do we have to counter for Fred or not?
Because that game is completely different with or without Fred Warner.
No question.
But you know what's different too? You know who doesn't care? James Conner. James Conner could give 2 if Fred Warner's playing around. James Conner wants Fred Warner. James Conner wants 11 Fred Warners over there. So
yeah, he's going to be looking for 54 to run into and run.
Talk about running styles and Kenneth Walker. That's James Conner. James Conner's not looking to run around you. James Conner's looking to end your life. So
he's snatching souls and taking lives if he runs up the middle. And I think that's slightly where we're softer on defense. And you know, I know we've got Fred back there, but I think our interior line could do with, you know, a little bit beefing up. So that's possibly where Connor and
that's where James runs the best is right there in that interior. Yeah.
Guys inside the tackles there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's where, you know, we need to kind of really strengthen up. And losing Javon Hargrave, I think he's tore both of his triceps. Yeah. He's out for the season. You read those injuries, you're like, wow, you just know that's painful. So, you know, losing him in the middle is going to be a real struggle for us, I think, because our run defense, Fred's amazing, as you say, our linebacking core is great, but I think our interior is a little soft, and so I think that's where you can kind of find some.
If he can run behind his pads today and not east, if he can run north and west behind his pads, in the Lions game, we saw him a lot of east and west running sidelines, trying to find a hole, trying to get something going, but he couldn't. If he can run behind his pads today, find a hole and pop it and hit it hard, I think he's going to have success. Unfortunately, San Fran's good with gap discipline, and they're good with filling those holes. But you're right that if you have, I would say there's not holes, but there's chances in that secondary too. With that interior run game, which leads to the run of the pass, the play action. So I think today's going to be a great game. Super, super excited. I'm probably not going to leave the couch today. I'll be honest. I'll be watching football all day long. And it's going to be a great matchup. Seahawks, you guys, this should be a fairly easy match for you guys.
I'd expect to see the Seahawks popping up pretty regularly on Red Zone, right? Just kind of like, that looks like they got another score.
I wish they didn't put us all in the same time block, though.
I know.
I wish they'd have gave one of us the early game.
Yeah. So we're all going to want to keep an eye on what's going on with the others, even especially JT and I are going to be fixed on our game, but we are going to be like, what's happening over there, just in case.
Yeah, commercials, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you want to flick over, but it's just a shame that we're all on the late, I'm saying that the late shift over here, but it is annoying that it's all that same time slot. We're all, I suppose we're all at home, right? That's the.
They weirdly schedule all at home games. Yeah. Like none of us. I mean, you have an away game, right? Because you're playing in the division, but it's weird that our whole division are at home. So I get why there wasn't the early game, right? Because we're all on the West Coast. So but at the same time, it's just like, really, we couldn't get
couldn't mix it. Somebody in the scheduling couldn't go. Maybe we should move one of those, around or something. It was a bit of an odd one, isn't it? So so come on there, JT. Time to put your money where your mouth is. What are we thinking scorelines?
You know what? I see. I got Kyler throwing 2. I got James Conner running 1. I'm thinking Kyler's throwing to Marvin Harrison and Trey McBride. Those are his 2. James Conner's got 1. And, I see, a 24-21 contest, maybe a 27-24 something close, tight, maybe either way. But, it's good. Like I said, it's going to be a great game. If we got the victory, I'm definitely going to be excited, ecstatic over that. You're definitely going to be hearing from me. If you guys win, please do not text me. Do not reach out.
So this goes one way. What we're saying, this is a one-way street. Okay.
We'll be in morning. So no, I think it's going to be great football. It's going to be throwback football, smash mouth. Both teams know what they're getting today, and both teams are excited. See, a couple of years ago, the Niners have always played this way, and the Cardinals have not. But the last couple of years, you've seen that evolution. You've seen now we're playing that style, or we're trying to play that style. We want to play that style, smash mouth, both sides of the ball. Football don't quite have the personnel to do it for 4 quarters at that high a level, but you could tell that's the style that JG's bringing, and it's just exciting to watch. It's a fun brand of football to watch, and I definitely see a close 3-4 point game within 7 for sure. Would not be surprised one bit if we won.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because the line was 7.5, right?
I saw 7. Other books might have had 7.5 for sure. I just thought that was a tad bit disrespectful. So
the half for sure, right? If it was 7, it's like, okay, like a late game touchdown. I could
garbage time.
Juwan Jennings, yeah.
But 7.5, that 0.5, that's where it kills me, because
you just had to,
just
throw that
stick
half
the knife in, right? It's almost
really?
like sticking the knife in, kicking you down after a game last week.
Do you think that Arizona covers though? Like if it's 7.5, I'm like, oh, Arizona covers this. If it's just 7, it's like I could see that, right? Like I could see just a weird, late game touchdown, whatever. But yeah, it's always the hook that you're just like,
just that little bit. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. Those bookies in Vegas.
I think so. I'm starting to think they do know what they're doing over there.
But I do think you're right on the Harrison thing, though. I think he has a game against our secondary, because I think although it's pretty good, I think he is phenomenal, and I think he's got the size to cause our DBs problems, because our DBs are quite clingy, quite sticky, but they don't have that sort of physicality and the size that he has. So unless Charvarius Ward travels with him, I think he's going to have a game. I think that's the only way that we shut him down.
And he's been seeing a lot of double coverage this year. He's seeing a lot of safety shade, too high, cast, whatever. Mel loves that.
Cover 2. Oh, wow.
Mel, what's his name?
Mel Kipner? Is it? No, Kipner? No.
Oh my gosh, I'm trying to blank. The college draft guru, Mel.
Oh, Kuiper.
Mel Kuiper loves to cover two high safety shell. But Marvin's seeing a lot of that, and he's seeing a lot of double coverage. And San Fran does not like to do that. They're very arrogant with their defense, as they should be, because they have the personnel and the people to do that. But they want to play you man up. They do not want to give help to anybody. And we see at times that burns them sometimes. But again, they feel like, hey, you've got to travel the length of the football field to score on us. We might give up a big play or two, but we're not going to do that consistently. And you have to consistently put plays together
to hit every
score
time,
on us. Yes. So while we will give up big plays that secondary here and there, you've got to consistently make that play to score on us. So I think that's where San Fran's coming from. But they will not double. They will not. They don't like the blitz very much. And they will just man up and try to eat your breakfast every play. And so I think that's where Marvin is going to thrive, because he is that big physical receiver that can get off blocks, can get off the line, can high point the ball. He's a very good route runner. So yeah, I look for him to have a big game, and then having Trey McBride back today, I think is going to be huge.
Yeah, because he's a great safety net for Kyler, isn't he?
He is, and it's going to be huge in that run game when we run that 13 personnel, one back, three tight ends, and running the ball off the 13 and 12 personnel. That's going to be huge, because Trey McBride, Higgins, we've got some very good blocking tight ends that are going to be huge in that run game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like seeing the connection to Harrison, like that. As that continues to evolve, that is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Now, if they can just keep him engaged all game, he's had moments where you're just like, oh man, here we go, and then just for whatever reason they can't connect anymore. But
absolutely,
as that gets corrected, man, it's going to be dynamic.
It looks the type. Marvin Harrison last week, and there was one play to be happy about last week. Let's be honest, but that throw that Kyler had to Marvin Harrison, me and my son, the whole section were like, oh my, that was wizardry. Oh my gosh. So just the throw and the catch was absolutely amazing. So to your point, Bo, you do see glimpses of it here and there of what it's going to be. They just need to be, and they will be, more consistent with it.
It's a work in progress, but Harrison looks the kind of receiver that could take a game away from any team when he's fully up to speed, and the connections there and stuff like that. It just looks like he's just got that big game mentality, that big game talent to just take a game away from it. No matter what, as you say, he might get doubled, he might get whatever, but he's still going to be out there, mossing people. Maybe we'll call it Harrison in people soon enough if he keeps up, that kind of. He looks like he's taken after his dad, right? He's coming from good stock, but man, he's very
humble, he's very composed, and everyone's trying to compare him to Larry Fitzgerald, and I will say this about the comparison: Larry was not Larry his first few years here. It took Larry a couple years to kind of get going and become the Larry Fitzgerald that we all know and love. Okay,
so changing positions.
I think some people have. Well, when B.A. Kalman moved him to the slot, that helped hugely. But before that, when Ken Wisenhunt went to the Super Bowl, he was playing on the outside with Anquan Bolden. Anquan Bolden was that guy up front day one. His very first game, his rookie year, he caught over 10 balls for over 200 yards and I think 3 touchdowns. So Anquan Bolden is that guy, guy from day one. Larry was not. Obviously, Larry had a better career overall. I'm not saying Super Bowls, but Larry had a better career overall. I think most people would say Larry Fitzgerald's a better receiver than Anquan Bolden. And I think when it's all said and done, you can kind of see the same traits in Marvin Harrison with that composure, very humble, great route runner, high point the ball, just that trust and camaraderie he's gaining with his quarterback. So very excited to see that combination going forward, and that's something luckily Cardinal fans are going to see for a long time.
Yeah. On our side with the receivers, it's good that Debo got some reps last game out. So, it looks like he's coming back. So we should be back to our top 3 receivers rather than having JJ playing sort of wide receiver 1 now. He can revert back to that third down maestro.
Well, and
he's just somehow
horrible news for the NFC West. And, as Juwan Jennings is a number 3, right? I mean, or does he move? I mean, is he really a Brock Purdy, a number 2 option of Brock Purdy's eyes? Because we have not seen Brandon Ayuk be Brandon Ayuk this year, right?
Is he on
Yeah,
the roster? Like, is somebody his jersey?
I know. He's certainly
Arizona,
on the
we're big
financial
fan
books,
Ayuk
right?
fan because
He's
he went to
certainly on the
ASU,
books.
so we're big Ayuk fans here in Arizona. And where's he been?
Where's he at?
Like, he
I mean,
signed his deal and went on vacation. Like, he's got a body double
Oh,
out
I
there.
thought he was still sitting
He's got
out.
somebody else is out there wearing his jersey running around right now.
Well, obviously the wrong color shorts.
Yeah,
So,
maybe that's the problem. Maybe now that's why they had to change pants this week. That's what it does. Maybe.
well, I don't know. He
I
got
don't
his
know.
panties
But
in a
yeah,
bunch in the offseason, and not since then he just has not shown up. So that's good
shown
news.
up.
But unfortunately, Juwan Jennings has just exploded for you. You got Kittle back or Debo back today, and it looks like Kittle's going to play as well. Kyle put him on the injury report too. Gary, I think I saw you on the injury report too as well.
I think everyone was
So
on. Anybody
Kyle is
even
just
close
really
to
going
the,
overboard with this injury report thing. But
How mad
no.
are you if you're John Lynch right now? You finally cave, you sign Ayuk, and then he just disappears.
And you're
from
getting nothing. Nothing from him.
But we've got a history of this though. Like Bosa held out a couple of seasons ago for big money, and when he eventually got his bag, really had a middling season. It was still okay, but it wasn't like anything to write home about. Trent Williams has got his bag, and it's just like
He was hurt half of that year, though, wasn't he?
no, not the year he held out. He was hurt the year before, held out, got his bag, and then had a.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I thought he got hurt
Debo last
year.
season.
But Bosa, the difference is Bosa's a game changer. Look, I don't like Bosa at all, but Bosa's a game changer. You look at that Super Bowl with Kansas City, he was so disciplined in his rush. He did not try to cave in and go right at Patrick. He kept that edge. He sealed that edge so that way Patrick couldn't do the Patrick things very much. So I was so impressed at Bosa for that Super Bowl and what he did and how disciplined he was and how consistently he beat his guy. And that's Bosa can do that. If he's getting double, triple, that's setting up his teammates, right? Which you guys got an all-star roster on that D-line. But Bosa can change games. Trent Williams can change games. That left side, that left tackle position, that's set. Let's be honest. A lot of people are looking for left tackles, right tackle. You got that left tackle's set, right? If Trent Williams is over there, that's good. We're good.
Forget about that.
I need to see a little bit more out of you. You wanted this money. You set out for this money.
Now
there's probably a big tension. There's a lot of tension between Lynch and ownership now because I got you this money.
What are you doing with him? Where's he going? He's
crickets.
Crickets. There's nothing there. He's dropping balls. It's not even like he's not showing up. He's there, but he's dropping things that should be catching. It's like,
it's funny. He got the bag and then turned into Kadarius Toney. Like I don't, I don't know what happened, but I keep waiting for like the Scooby Doo face reveal.
Right? It really
got away with it, right? Yeah. Wow. Darius Toney, that's harsh, but so I can see it. Which is why obviously now everybody's like, oh, Devontae Adams to the 49ers makes sense.
No. First of all, you don't have the money.
What? Where are we gonna be? We're gonna shake the sofa and find money. Dude, come on.
Enough's enough. Like
Devontae
the
rest of the NFC West,
no
you're like,
way.
Behave. You've got no way you can squeeze him onto it.
Oh
my God.
Crazy if they got Adams would be the Vikings.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Because they could do it. Like they actually could finesse that salary cap to make it happen. Like I don't think they do. Don't get me wrong. But could you imagine having Devontae Adams and Justin Jefferson on the edges?
And Jordan Addison.
No.
And Jordan Addison in the slot. Wow.
Yeah, and then you got Hawkinson coming in. I mean, man.
Ooh, look out. Yeah, look out there. I think he goes KC. I think inevitably he ends up at KC because they need
KC or the Jets. I mean, you look at that, what as human beings, what do? We tend to go back to what we're comfortable with, right? Devontae Adams is comfortable with Aaron Rodgers. Right? I mean,
or Derek Carr at the Saints.
What receiver on the Jets is having the most success? What receiver on the Jets?
Alan Lazard, right?
Alan Lazard. Yeah. The receiver he feels the most comfortable with. If Alan Lazard is on any 31 other rosters in the NFL, is he having this success? No.
Is he even not? He's not even.
I was going to say he might not even be making the 53. He might be on a practice squad somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. But there's that comfortable familiarity. I love Al Lazard when they were in Green Bay together. Aaron would have him
Although
over
he
for
dropped it, Clay. He dropped
Thanksgiving.
a hideous one.
I mean, they were they love each other. So I mean, I can see a Devontae Adams going over there having that same connection, and the Jets are missing that piece. They're missing a piece.
Well,
And
Garrett thinks that it should be that piece. They just can't seem to get on the same page.
Yeah.
But the other team that would be interesting is if he found his way to the Bills.
Ooh,
that would be scary. I heard that too. I'm like, man, that would be scary.
You know, the team that's super dumb that would probably do it, even though it doesn't help their team at all, it'd be the Dolphins. Right? Because they have no defense at all. And they're like, you know what? Maybe if we have a fourth offensive weapon and no quarterback.
That's gonna do
no
it.
quarterback
No,
to get the ball. Yeah, let's just run Wildcat with all of these guys. Yeah. Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, and Jalen Waddle in the backfield, and Skyler, whatever his name is. See, come on, it'd be done. Or the Panthers, somebody dumb like that, which might as well sell the house. Oh, we got some draft picks next year. Let's sell them to the Raiders for Devontae Adams, right? Because we don't like draft picks. Let's get rid of it. There are places where you can see Devontae Adams making a massive difference. Bills is a great shout. I think KC will eventually come back to the fore now that Rashid Rice, got taken out by his own QB.
I don't want to see that.
Nobody wants to see that, right? It's just like as JT says, it's the rich getting richer. With 49ers.
Here's the thing: Kansas City doesn't look like world beaters. They don't really look that good. I think I watched Travis Kelce run for a touchdown the other day, and I'm like, is that a beer league guy? Like, what in the world? Like, he's running so slow. Like, it's almost like they're giving him the touchdown. They don't look that great. They're undefeated.
Jared Goff,
they're undefeated.
Touchdowns than
Blow did Jared Goff look on that route? It's like against that special, like whatever they're calling it, but it looked like he was running in treacle, but yet somehow still managed to get away. It's like,
well, that's because nobody stayed home.
Yeah,
that was just bad defense. You watched the over pursuit on the back end, and you're just like, somebody had to stay home. Like, you can't just vacate the entire side of the field when you have somebody that he could have crawled on his hands and knees and made that.
I thought he did. I thought looking at some of the highlights, it looked like he was. Wow. Okay, so you're calling 24-21, was it, Jay? I think
27-24.
27-24.
Cardinals.
Oh, Bo, what have you got?
That's right. That's right.
Right.
Hey, this ain't water, buddy. This ain't water in here.
Not anymore, right? Football's on the TV. It's
starting to kick in. Yeah.
Confidence is flying now. Here we
go.
go.
Football's been on for an hour and a half already. So
right, I'm telling you, Devontae Adams could be the difference in this game right now. If they scored,
it's still
17-14. If the Jets are about to, they're driving. They're in the red zone.
Okay. What do you got there,
17-14.
What are you calling? What are you calling for the big game in our division?
I'll also go 27-24, but I'm going the other way. I think the Niners get this done.
Hey, if we cover, I cover both my bets. I'm good.
Well, and I think you do. Like, you guys are playing scrappy enough football that I think you make this a very interesting game. And you'll be there. You'll have a shot to win. I don't think you guys quite have come together enough yet.
Yeah. I think, as you say, Jay, I don't think you're there for the 4 quarters yet. You've got that smash.
I think it comes down to personnel. We just don't quite have the personnel, maybe. Yeah. I think that's what it comes down to. But I was telling, I don't know if you joined us yet, but what I was telling Gary earlier, that I think one of the best things that happened to us, honestly, was getting our asses handed to us last week. I mean, first of all, it's the first time that's ever happened under the Jonathan Gannon era. First time ever. And number 2, we have seen for a year and a season and 4 games what Jonathan Gannon is putting together. And he's putting together something special, something that lasts, and some smash mouth football. So I really like where we're headed, where we're going. This is a process. Would you say the Detroit Lions are for real?
Oh, yeah, of course.
The Detroit Lions in Dan Campbell's first 2 seasons were 12, 21, and 1. So let's pump the brakes. We did get the brakes beat off us last week. I agree. I sat through it. I made my son sit through it too. That's child abuse. I agree. But
a lot of scar, but there's a lot of therapists making some
Oh man,
extra
it was
dollars in
awful.
there. Is
I
that correct?
break down and rewatch games throughout the week like you guys do, and I just couldn't without. I started. I'm like,
That
you know
was
what? I'm going
awful.
to do the all 22 so I don't hear anything, and it like even that was awful. I'm like,
Yeah,
I
that's
just
like
can't. I just
fast.
can't.
No, just no.
It's just one of
Well,
those
like-
games where you're like, no, I'll watch other games, not that one.
I mean, sometimes when you get beat up that bad, that's the throw the tape away. There's no
There's
takeaways
nothing
you're
good
going
to
to get.
draw from it. No.
Yeah.
But I was telling Gary, the 2008, the year we won the Super Bowl, in December, we got blown out twice by the Vikings and by the Packers. So breathe, step back. We got the right leadership. We got the right guys. I think today is going to be, I mean, a brawl, like in a
And you got
phone
2 more
booth
weeks of good
brawl.
football.
Huh?
You got 2 more weeks of good football, and then it's dicey
Yeah,
because
Then things
October
get-
24th is a magical day for your quarterback.
I know. I know.
Is
Hey,
that
you
the double XP sort of weekend? Is it?
that's when I think the new Call of Duty
New
comes
Call of
out.
Duty gets released.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, I know. Get all these. I've never heard the
all
Call
that,
of Duty or the short jokes before ever. So-
I just think there should be like a side quest where it's the playbook or something.
Yeah, no, there's definitely going to be parlay bets on that. I know there are. So
No, well, it'll be interesting to watch that following week, right? Because if he balls out, they're gonna be like, oh no, he's really locked in, or they just, they fall apart. It'll be like last week randomly, and they'll be like, oh, he's not dedicated, and it'll have nothing to do with anything.
Nothing to do with it. No, but that'd be the
agree more.
extrapolation.
Not agree more, right? Absolutely.
Yes,
So
Tyler's
I
actually
hope he
deleted his
doesn't have a
account.
bad game that week.
Imagine the storylines, though; they will be amazing for shows like this. But
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody kind of sitting there going, I haven't even logged in. I haven't even got the game. What are you
I hope
talking about?
I hope he has a perfect passer rating that game.
Yeah.
well,
And then
if he
comes
does-
out with like a Call of Duty sort of,
Oh,
some sort
that
of
would be
celebration.
epic.
would
First
be
post game
like-
presser, he has a Call of
He's got
Duty
Call
shirt
of
on.
Duty t-shirt.
Oh,
Oh,
that would
that'd
be
so
perfect.
good. That'd be
that
so
would
good.
be that would be like in your face media. Wouldn't
Yep.
it?
Oh.
I feel like he has to do that whether he has a good game or a bad game.
Yeah,
Yeah, just got to own it, right?
just
One of
laugh
those-
it up. It's not
Laugh
going
it up,
away. Just go with
Just
it.
own it. Just own the storyline and take it back. Absolutely.
Lean
so-
into it.
Lean into it. So I think I agree. I mean, I think 7.5 is way too big for a divisional game, which both teams are in on. I think it's going to be, it's in that 28-24, 28-20. It's in that sort of niggly. Probably, as I say, I think we probably just get clear in the fourth. I think because just personnel and just having that sort of level and being through the process a little bit more, I think we probably get 10 points up on you going end of third into the fourth. You get sort of within that 7 afterwards, but I don't think it's but I think we just edge it. But I do think it's a fourth quarter all the way arm wrestle brawl. Great game for the neutrals. Great game for Everton to watch.
I just checked. The
Well,
over under is 49, so we're about right. It's
We're all
going
in
to
that
be-
sort of
Yep.
Yeah. 28-21 in that sort of It'll be good to watch. It'll be a good watch. And I'll try not to bug you. I'll try not to bug you all week.
Little disappointed, Bo, that you picked San Fran, but that's okay. In your game, what do you think?
Man, so
what's the over under?
this feels like it's going to be like a
42.5.
I feel like this is going to be like a 28 to like 17 kind of game.
I got a feeling. Do you think Gino sits the fourth quarter on this one because you're that far ahead and it's?
No,
I don't think so.
I don't foresee them doing anything like that unless he gets hurt. This team seems a little bit more like a keep your foot on the gas kind of team with McDonald. They seem less like they're going to play safety ball, right? If you get a lead. I don't see him rolling out a lot of prevent defense that always pisses me off.
They're so far up. Yeah, it'll give away garbage yards and garbage TDs and stuff. Yeah.
Exactly.
They might be onto something though, because if they're leading 28-10 or 35-10 going into the fourth quarter, why play Gino? Malik Neighbors is not playing today, so who's going to get the ball for the Giants?
if you're up 20, then yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, if you're up 3 scores, he's sitting.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, the Giants.
And I can see you
Nobody,
guys
right?
up 3 scores in the fourth.
I mean, as you say, Jay, who have the Giants got that's going to get the ball or anything? It's
Devin Singletary, like
is he banged up as well?
It's Daniel Jones, so I'm sure some of our defenders will catch a couple passes.
absolutely.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure Tariq
Maybe more
Woolen will
than
get
the
some
Giants
get-right game for
receivers.
Tariq, right? Yeah.
No question. Yeah.
Yeah. Good
Yeah,
stuff,
no,
boys.
it'll probably be something like that. It'll probably be like a 10, 12 point lead would be my guess.
Yeah. I don't think you're ever in danger here, but it depends on how many points you can rack up early. I don't think you're ever going to be in danger. If things all go well and Walker runs in a few and Gino throws in a couple, then I think by the end of the third they're like, pack this one up, sit down, guys, let's give everyone else a chance. And yeah, the Giants probably get back into it with garbage and stuff like that. By the end, the game is probably done and dusted, I reckon.
Yeah. Well, and I mean,
of course, what happens is the Giants come out and actually ball out now, and you all sound really stupid.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's funny though because people aren't mentioning enough, what Gino has been able to do so far this year, even with the offensive line still not really performing at a high level. I mean, against a Detroit team that is very good, right? Like across the board, they're a very good team.
Extremely good.
He puts up almost 400 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's
you
out there balling
Goff more than they got to Gino, right?
What's that?
You guys had
Yeah,
more
I think
checks
so.
on Goff, right, than they had on Gino.
Goff was
Didn't you?
perfect on the day. He went 18
He was perfect, but
for
he still got a couple of sacks on him as well, though.
But
Right?
I mean, you got a couple sacks on him.
Yeah.
He was still. He finished that first half again. I think for us, the first half he finished 12 for 12, and I think against you, the first half he was 12 for 12. I'm like, man, does this guy miss? Like, really?
It's just like, yeah.
No, that move to Detroit was the best thing for his.
Whew. Yeah,
Well,
that is working,
he's
isn't it?
proving all the doubters wrong. Like, no, it was not McVay. Like, I can spin the rock. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and he's making good decisions. But
Correct.
not
to
I think.
Yeah.
I think this is a get right game for you guys, and I see, man, again, the Giants, Devin Singletary, 3.9 yards a carry. So, even you guys aren't the best at running the ball. What are they going to do? And like you said, Daniel Jones is going to have more completions to Seahawks than he has Giants. So,
I mean, my worry is the running game because even when all of our guys were healthy, we're not good against the run in the middle.
but Devin Singletary strikes fear in the heart of no one.
No one.
No.
Yeah. Not even the Patriots, right?
No.
Well, that's the thing is the Patriots ran on us like dude was an all-pro.
Ramondre
You do make some running backs look good, and as you say, Stevenson.
Ramondre's a good back though. He runs behind his pads. He likes to run through you.
So he is, but what my point is we made him look like an all-pro when everyone was healthy, and we're missing guys. So there's a chance that this Giants running game is actually going to look way better than it is.
So, but let's also think about game script. You guys are going to be 2 scores ahead. Do you really think the Giants are going to run the ball that much? No,
well,
they're going to try to catch up, right? And you don't catch up like that by running the ball, especially at 3.9 yards a carry.
No, well, and that's the thing is I would bet that yards per run for this game will be higher than that.
I agree.
But
he's also going to get limited attempts because they're going to be down 14, 17,
That is the hope.
Yeah, right?
But basically what you want is first drive, Gino just strolls down the field, scores a TD, quick early interception for a pick six. You're 14-0 up straight off the bat, and then they're like, right, that's it. You know what's coming. Then it's, as you say, it's one-dimensional then from that point forward.
Yeah, then
and I reckon that
on Daniel Jones, you try for that last year where you sack him 11 times.
Yeah, just steal his soul, break his heart, break and everything. Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And then the Packers Rams. Are we? I've got a feeling that.
I think we're all in agreement on the Packers, right?
Yeah, I think the Packers.
Yeah, I mean, you feel bad for Sam because this is probably going to get ugly quick,
real soon. Yeah, it's going to be one of those like the Super Bowl sort of the Super Bowl, the post Super Bowl season.
Yeah.
Can't get away. It's where it gets ugly real quick and starts to fall apart, and players start to make business decisions pretty soon, I think.
Well, and this is the part where you start to worry if Stafford's going to ultimately get hurt because he doesn't have guys, right? So he's going to have to hold the ball longer than he wants to.
Yeah.
And he's going
to
to start.
Line's not quite there. Yeah.
Exactly. So then, at what point when you're the Rams are you looking at, okay, we're pretty far out of this. Let's get Stetson Bennett in there to sling the rock around, get him back up to game.
Just to keep Stafford healthy enough to
Exactly.
just let's come back next year or something. When do you look at it and go, oh, the season's gone? Seahawks are now 5 games ahead of us. We're out of the divisional run. It won't be long if, with their injury crisis and everything else, they could quite quickly fall away at the bottom of the division. Then when do they make those business decisions? Stafford, you're 2 bad hits away from, being time. Let's just see what this other kid can do for the next, 4 or 5 weeks because nothing else has got to go.
Yeah. Well, and and it's not like Stetson Bennett was a scrub, right? Like he missed last year for personal reasons, but prior to that, he won back-to-back championships with Georgia. So, it's not like he can't throw the ball around.
It's not like he doesn't know what he's doing. Yeah. But it'd be interesting to see. But
Vegas is calling it a pick'em game. The Rams-Packers game. They're giving Green Bay. They're saying -3 for Green Bay. It's in Lambeau. So no, it's not the Rams. My bad.
It's not the Rams.
I was going to say this is definitely not.
it's definitely a SoFi.
No, not a pick'em. Sorry, Sam. No.
Yeah, no. Like if it was the Rams -3, then that's your standard home field advantage. But they're basically saying the Rams are going to lose by a touchdown.
Yeah,
I think the Rams would take that, quite frankly. If the Rams can cover that,
too.
that's probably not too bad.
Absolutely.
Right, boys, go and enjoy Sunday.
Yeah.
It's been great catching up.
Absolutely. Hey, good luck, Gary.
Good luck, man. I will be pinging you. I will be pinging you as we go through, man.
only if the Cardinals win.
Only if the Cards win.
Otherwise, I will
Have
not
a great
respond.
Sunday, guys.
Yeah,
We'll
right.
catch up next week. Take it easy,
guys.
See you guys.
The world still hitting them corners and them lolos.
It's the call of the Cardinals.
There's only one team, and they're the Seahawks.
Still taking my time to perfect the beat, and I still got love for the streets. It's the